Now, I hope you're aware that when I'm sharing anything, that my message comes from my mess. And I think sometimes people who only get certain snippets of content, maybe they see a photo, maybe they read half of one sentence of a caption, whatever, might get the wrong impression. I am very clear. I'm very clear about how my message comes from my mess and how I don't have it perfect. One of the things, though, that I have been unclear about, even with myself, is just how messy my mess has been. Even in, like, I'm talking since like the beginning of my life. Things that were outside of my control that I, wanted to tell myself a certain narrative about, to try and, survive. And I'm having to reconcile a lot of that. It's like you discover, I've gone through all of this, I've done this work, I've done that work, and then you realize there's more work. Like, that's kind of where I'm at right now, is realizing, okay, I've spent years doing the work, not saying something, doing something, and sharing what I've been doing. I've spent years doing that. And then you find yourself in a situation where you go, okay, well, there's no way I would have found myself in this situation if I didn't have more work to be done. And it's very humbling, and it showed me how much pride I had in the work that had already been done. And that I'd done, working on my health, I'd done hiring help, I'd done spending years in the trenches figuring this stuff out, asking God, crying out, doing the things, putting myself in situations and environments where healing could happen, and spending years doing that. And then you realize, dang, man, I still got so much more work to do. And I was talking with somebody yesterday. I was in a group, we were talking, and I was just sharing, that in the same way, that God gives us the opportunity to change for the better. He can give us the opportunity. That same choice exists where we have the opportunity to change for the worse. And pride comes before the fall. And when we have pride in our lives, we're often blind to it. And one of the places it can hide is in this idea that we've done all of these things to get to a certain point, and we've built enough strength and resilience to be able to fight whatever comes our way, even if it means we're fighting without God. It's like, God, I got this. It's the kid who turns 16, gets their driver's license, and says, Dad, I got this. And it's like sometimes we don't have awareness of our own spiritual maturity, or our mental maturity, emotional maturity, or physical maturity, whatever it is, right? And that's when the pride can really be damaging. It's one thing if you can go through life and have these kind of like mini moments of, ooh, my pride got hit there, and okay, let me get back on track. It's another thing if and I see this happen, I've seen it happen in my own life, I see it happen with other people, where it's like you go for long periods of time, years, without ever having that pride getting knocked, and so you're just not even aware it's there, and then the blow comes, and boom, you're on your butt, man. I'm sharing all that to say, I'm just in this time in my life right now where I'm coming back to God in a different way. I'm coming back to Him and saying, Lord, we've done a lot of work here. You've done a lot of work. I've chosen to do a lot of work. I've been sincere in that work, and there's still more work to be done. There's still so much more work to be done. And we better get it right this time, because, for me personally, I'm at the place where I'm going, if this doesn't get right this time, Lord, I don't know how it does get right. And what I mean by that is just like when you have resolve in your heart and your mind that this has to get done now. We're not going to face this again. This has to get done now. It gives you not just conviction, but it also gives you a little bit of like the fear of God. If this doesn't happen, Lord, I got nothing for you. I got nothing else. And I think that's the best. I think that's the best place we can be when it comes to surrendering. You know, it's where we say, God, if it's not now, it's never. Like it's gotta be now. It's got to be now. And that's when we're willing to change, right? And I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it in other people's lives. It's like when we're at that place where we're like, no, we're willing to change. And I might fight you for it, but I'm willing to change. That's the place we need to be. And I found that when I'm in a place of pride, I don't have that kind of like desperation in my heart or mind. And I think people can think of desperation as a bad thing. But I kind of have seen that desperation can be very healthy, so long as it leads to, you know, this turning to God for your help and recognizing that He's going to help you if you're wanting to help yourself, you know, if you're wanting to choose His ways, which are higher than our ways, His ways of thinking, His ways of doing things. And thank God for that, because Lord knows that I just don't know what I'm doing. Like most of the time I'm just like, God, help me figure this out. You give me some principles, but help me figure this out. And I know that I'm in a dangerous place when I'm thinking I've got it all figured out. So if that's the place that you're in right now, where you're like, you know, I've got it all figured out, I would say, you know, just maybe evaluate where's the desperation in your life. If you're in the place where you're going, Lord, I'm overwhelmed, I'm so desperate for anything to change in these areas, relationships, career, money, health, whatever, man, that's a good place to be. So long as you're going to God and saying, God, I just want your ways. Just today, what are the basics today? Like, help me have faith for today. Help me see what I need to see today. Help me with my needs today. And that's my prayer. That's my prayer personally. That's my prayer for you. And I hope that you can hear that as a message from the messes on my journey. You know, Lord help me, right? Lord help me.